Welcome, welcome, welcome. It must be Tuesday at 5 o'clock. You're in the right place at the right time. I tell you, boy, we're going to have a fun-filled show today. I got a young author on the show, and I'm so excited to have him. I used to spy on this young man when he was growing up because he and my younger son used to, come to events that we would host, and he would be in there running around like a little, youngster at the time. So I'm glad to have him. He ain't a little youngster no more. He's a grown man. So I'm glad to have him on the show. So you all's, we're going to get this introductions out of the way so we can get him on the live with us today. Okay. Um, I am so excited to give a shout out to who I always give a shout out to, which is Dr. Hunt, who is my mentor. Dr. Hunt has been a mentor, been looking out for me for the last 30 plus years. And I tell you, I am so excited to be able to say he is my friend and my brother. Because watching out for me for 30 years ain't no easy job. Trust me, it is not an easy job. Okay, but he has been doing it with a smile on his face. And I definitely am glad to have him as my mentor. Okay, so if you have never seen or heard of Dr. Hunt, you can always go over to my YouTube channel and check out some of the playlists that I have with him on there. All right. I want to invite everybody to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, you'll get a chance to see some of my sponsors, people that help make it possible for me to do what I do. RRJ Webb, Sir Synergy, Port Again Sam, and Prince Hunter Financial Group. Now, these are just a few of the people that are on my website that I encourage you to go check out. But I want to call special attention to Sir Synergy. Sir Synergy is helping people to save money on their energy bills. If you're interested in getting some more information about what he does and how he does it, click on the banner or the flyer. It'll take you directly to his website. You can call him up, make an appointment to sit down and talk to them. And then that way they can tell you how they can help you with your energy situation. Port Again Sam, he's been with me for close to 15 years now. I was just at his establishment on last week. He's got some new inventory in. He brings in the best wine and spirits from all over the world. So I tell you, you do not want to miss out on an opportunity to check on what he's got in inventory, because it comes and it goes. But give him a call, set up a wine tasting, go down and check it out. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And keep in mind that everything that he brings in is exclusive. You can't find it anyplace else. And last but not least, I want to highlight Prince Hunter Financial Group. Now, Prince Hunter Financial Group is offering 4 free classes. If you're interested in learning how to trade the stock market, if you're interested in learning how to trade the Forex market, call him up. Tell him, hey, I want my 4 free classes, and you can find out some knowledge if you don't have any at all. And I'm sure he can tell you something that you've never, ever thought about in the trading and learning how to trade. And you can start your educational process and carry it on from there. So definitely check out Prince Hunter Financial Group and get your 4 free classes. Well, like I said about this young man a little while ago, I've watched him grow up. I know his mom very well. She's a very good friend of mine, and she's been like a sister to me for 10 plus years. She's always had a passion for young people, and she's always looked out for my son just like I've overlooked on her son. And I've seen this young man blossom into a businessman, into a book author. And today we're going to get a chance to hear some of his exploits and his ventures. And I'm so excited to hear him talk because he said, "Oh man, I can hold a conversation for an hour." We're going to find out today. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Ron.
Yeah, man, look, I know you got to explain to people what Chris empowers because I almost said your full government name. So now you got to explain that because, I don't want to be sitting up here stumbling all afternoon.
Well, my government name is Christopher Williams. That's okay, but my public speaking name is Chris Empowers. And how Empowers come came about is that I am not a motivational speaker. I believe in empowering people. And so motivation requires you to continue to have it. It's almost to a point of you have to intake that continuously. Empowering is that I'm giving you tools and tips and strategies on how to get from where you at to where you're trying to go. And if I believe if I can empower you, you can take that along your journey.
All right now. So how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing. I first started public speaking in 2015, and so it's what 7 years.
Okay. And so tell the people about yourself a little bit because I know this is your first time to the show. So tell the people about yourself.
So I was born and raised on the South Side of Chicago. Two wonderful parents. I was blessed to have two parent household. I am now a married man um, to a lovely, my lovely wife, and I am an entrepreneur at heart. Jay Z once said, "You're not a businessman, you're a businessman." And I think when I first heard that, it kind of just transformed my life. And so, not only am I an entrepreneur, but I would say that I'm a businessman. And my journey has been a roller coaster in life. Just like any young person through our life, trying to find what their calling or purpose is in life, or what they're trying to be in life. And so, I uh, went to private school all of my life. So raised on the south side of Chicago, where most students or most kids are going to public schools. The social life is different than going to a private school. So growing up in a private school was a different reality than when I went home. And so trying to having both worlds allowed me to be a chameleon. And so I was able to know how to carry myself in a classroom at a private institution, and then how to um, survive on the block. So it's just a mix of, I would say, like I'm a gumbo. I have a mix of things that groom me who I am, and also the village protected me. So it says, my mother always says, it takes a village. And so I never understood that until I got older, but I do appreciate those who helped me groom me to be the man I am today, to not be of the world. And so, or of where I come from. I'm proud of where I come from, and I love where I came from, but I didn't, I was blessed because of that village and because of my mother and my father, that I wasn't a product of my environment. And so, fast forward going into, grammar school. I actually was just what I'm about to tell you now. I actually probably never said on camera, possibly once, but growing up, I was the class clown, right?
Mm.
And so I was far from dumb. I was far from dumb, but I was a class clown. And my eighth grade teacher, I hope she don't mind me saying, well, Miss McKinley, who actually, which I thank her a lot, she actually failed me in eighth grade. So I failed the eighth grade not because of my grades. She did something I was very upset about. My mother was upset about. But when I looked in hindsight, it helped me to where I got to am today. She failed me not because of my grades. She failed me of where because I didn't live up to what she believed that was inside of me. And she was like, "You keep going on this route that you want to make people laugh." And she's like, "This is not you." And so, um, but when growing up in the neighborhood of that was my defense mechanism. I was little kid, skinny, so to learn how to tell jokes and make people laugh was my way of people accepted me. And so when I get inside those four walls in the classroom, I brought that lifestyle before I learned how to be a chameleon. I brought that lifestyle into those four classrooms. And I got a rude awakening because she allowed me to go through it. She corrected me along the way. Sometimes I was being hard headed. And then she sat me down with my mother and father and said, your son not gonna pass this class. And we was looking like, well, he doing, and I knew how, and I knew, yeah, and I knew how to fake it till I make it. So even though I was smart, I didn't allow people to know I was smart. So I purposely was an average student. I was like, I'm gonna do just enough to not fail, but I knew I can do more.
Right.
She didn't see, she seen the finesse and said, no, this not gonna happen like this, and she failed me at the 8th grade. And so that moment in my life, it was so crazy because my fellow students didn't know I failed,
Mm.
and then probably 80-90% of those students still to this day probably don't even know that I failed that particular class, that year. And so, but continue on in my life. High school, I went to another private school, and I excelled in there. And when I got to college, I went to Kishwaukee Community College, and I went to Northern Illinois University, and I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to help people, specifically young people, but I wanted to help people in the mental aspect. Before I even knew it was a such thing as mental illness or mental health,
Mm-hmm.
or I just wanted to help people. If they can change their thought, they can change their life. And so, and that was like my philosophy. And so I went to, study Northern Illinois to become this psychology major. And one day I got this call that my dad was sick, and that um, he had brain cancer. Now he had brain cancer when I was younger, but it kind of triggered back, and so then we went to uh, these. It was like a trickle down effect. And one day I got that call to tell me that, hey, Chris, you're gonna have to, now actually, son, you're gonna have to make this decision. It wasn't even a doctor or nurse. My mom was like, son, you have to make this decision, if we want to keep dad like this, or are we going to pull the plug? Now, I skipped past the whole story in between, the meat and potatoes in between, but this part of here is important because this part impacted my life. This that The meat and potatoes of that story molded me, but that question changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she asked me that question, I said, "Y'all, you crazy, mama. I don't know who you talking to. Pop's just gonna be laying there. He not. I ain't finna pull the plug on my dad. So you got the wrong one." But one day, when she asked me that, I walked in the hospital room, and my dad couldn't speak, for months and months, and and he was not coherent, they say. And so me trusting God, because I'm a God fearing man, that I held my dad's hand and I said, Dad, squeeze my hand if you're tired. And when I felt him squeeze my hand, I was like, okay. Now he knew I didn't have the strength, and God knew I didn't have the strength to tell that doctor, or definitely not my mother, to pull that plug. So I was like, God, may you make this easy for me. I'm glad that my dad fought this whole time, but I knew, I seen that he was tired, even before that
Mm-hmm.
moment. But me being selfish, I didn't want to let that go. He fought for me, and I told him, I'm gonna take care of my mother. I'm gonna take care of your wife, my mother. And literally, when I walked away, and I told my mother, give it some time. When I drove home and I sat in my room, literally, soon I sat in the bed, my mom gave me a call and say my pops transition. And then from that moment, that molded me to, I went at that moment. To be very honest, I was depressed for
Mm-hmm.
years. You He passed away in 2015. He passed away in 2015, and for months, I'm sorry, I say years. For months, I was depressed, and I was like, you know what, I'm done with school. I don't care about school. I don't care about life. I didn't want to end my life. I just didn't care about life
Mm-hmm.
itself. So fast forward, one day, mom said, you have to live in faith every day, and things will get better. And she gave me this whole mom spiel of what she does. My mom is a friend, a mother, and a mentor, and she know when to play what part. And at that time, she wasn't talking as my mother. And when she gave me some words of advice, I said, man, that right there is where I need to do for others, because others may not have that voice or not knowing how to um, put words to their feelings or how to get out of their situation. And so when I got out of my situation, I dedicated the rest of my life to help people in their situation get out of, or get out of their circumstance, just with willpower. And so that what created Chris
Hmm.
Empowers as the program.
Yeah. And it's interesting. When you say entrepreneur, I know for a fact that your mom has been an entrepreneur all the time that I have been knowing her, and I've been knowing her a long time. Okay. She's had
Yeah,
more businesses and more entities and more careers than any other woman I know. And she, even now, deals with mental health, dealing with people that have struggle with different types of struggles with their with mental health. So she has been an advocate for mental health for a very long time. And
sure.
to hear you say that that was a direction that you wanted to go in, I find that quite interesting. What they say, apple don't fall too far from tree,
Yeah,
So by
yeah,
osmosis, you got it.
yeah. And she definitely didn't push that on me. She didn't say, "This is what I want you to do." Because I proudly say, and I always said this, to people, that I'm a proud mama's boy, right? And so I was stuck to her hip all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, I would say probably 50% because I wanted to, and then the other half is because she wouldn't let me go,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But around her, being around her in her working environment, I did not know what she did. And to this day, to be quite honest with you, I can't even to go on that point you said of because she do so many things or have done so many
Right.
things. I haven't gave up trying to figure out what she does,
Yeah.
right? She do it. But when I was younger, she brought me around the doctor's office and a well-known psychologist, and I didn't even one didn't know what a psychologist was, didn't know how to spell it. I was just hanging with moms at her workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was just coincidence how like you said, osmosis that I did it, but it wasn't pressed on me.
Right.
I wasn't even focusing on where I was, my environment where I was at. I think it just, but me identifying what I wanted to do was able me to go back to that foundation and then replay those things of that what would be customer service, but that client base, that client and doctor, secretary, nurse relationship, how to navigate those certain things, the certain vocabulary. So then I was, because I was always a human sponge with knowledge, even though I didn't care about the space, but because knowledge was there, I wanted to absorb the knowledge, and now I was able, like, oh man, this is useful because I've been here
There
before.
you
I
go.
heard this before. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, let me go back a little bit. Like you say, you grew up on the south side of Chicago, in the hood. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think didn't Derrick Rose grow up down the street from you guys?
yes, he was about, yeah, about less than 15 minutes
Okay,
away.
so not too far.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
thought it was a lot closer. That's why I mentioned his name.
Yeah, but his school is literally behind
Okay,
me, like
okay,
behind the block. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the parks he played at, yeah, the parks he played at,
yeah. In the community and all
football.
of that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. For those that didn't know, Derrick Rose was an NBA star that went on to play for many teams. He picked up a lot of injuries trying to carry Chicago on his back for so many years, and then they rebuilt him, and then he went to other places and played. And had a success story for every place that he has gone. But a Chicago from the hood, legend, that will be remembered in the top 100 of NBA stars, for sure. So in the community where Chris, witnessed his growing up, because he's a little bit older than you, probably a lot older than you, you know.
he's probably about little less than
Okay,
10.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, a
yeah,
little less than 10.
yeah. But yeah, I remember your mom talking about him quite a bit, being in the community and doing things around the community. and she used
Sure.
to see him in and out of the community all the time because your family's a very close knit family, and I've been close to your family a long time. You got uncles that are, well, a uncle that is a entrepreneur extraordinaire. I think he got his own jet now. He's blowing up so big.
Yeah.
And then your aunt. Like I said, I've been close to the family a very long time. So I've witnessed and have seen a lot of transitions, around your family. And it's only, exciting to me to be able to see you come up in the shadow of all of that success. And now you have paved your own way. Man,
Yes.
I applaud you.
I
Many young
appreciate you.
people don't realize the success stories that are in their home, that are around them. They look outside of their home for role models and for success stories, and sometimes all they got to do is look in the living room.
For sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, I hear people a lot of times talk about, they want to be like Snoop Dogg. Now, I ain't got nothing against Snoop Dogg. Don't get me wrong. But you might have someone in your living room that is a big success story that you can pattern and actually touch and feel and be able to, get help with where you're going and what you're trying to do. So that was an inspirational moment that I had to throw out there, because sometimes people don't realize. I remember my son, it was so crazy when he was 17, 18 years old, and I was having one of those man to man talks with him,
Mhm.
and I was like, son, you don't even realize how how valuable your name is. Now, he is Ron Ford the third. Okay. And I'll say, if you walk in the right door and say who you are, I'm Ron Ford the third, and then things are going to begin to happen for you, not because of you,
Mhm.
but because of me. And he didn't
Mhm.
understand it. He couldn't comprehend that. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know how teenagers talk. Yeah, 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 yeah. So now he's beginning to understand. He's 30 now. So
Mhm.
now it's clicked. Oh man. you know,
Yeah.
the words, the name.
Mhm.
Oh man, they open up doors and they allow things to happen for you. So, understanding how important family can be, as a role model, I hope young people that are hearing this or have access to this video understand, it helps, to be able to see
Mhm.
success stories right there in your face, you know,
Yeah.
and like you say, empower you, come on now,
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing. Now, now you say you're a person that likes to empower people. Now, most of your clientele, are they young people? Are they variety of ages, mostly males, females? What is your demographic like?
That's a great question. So when I first started public speaking in 2015, to your surprise, and many people, well, yeah, to be probably many people's surprise, I was, I, I had a business partner that we used to go travel and speak about the power of image and how to properly dress professionally. We wanted to break the stereotype of how black men or men of color uh, that we just don't wear a suit to prom, court, and funerals. Excuse me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. And so we was traveling and teaching that not only on the exterior, but we also was teaching about the interior of a man. And so, how and for 2 years, it was doing well. And my audience, and what I learned in business, women consume things more. Like they're willing to spend more on consuming knowledge than men. And so even though I was talking about uh, how to properly dress professionally from a man's point of view, women were still in my audience. And the feedback that I got was, I'm here so I can help my dad, help my husband, my boyfriend, my fiance, my son. So they was taking that knowledge and going. So, until this day, 51 is crazy how you asked me that question. I seen yesterday on my algorithms, 51% of my audience, I'm sorry, 53% of my audience is women. In 2015, it was 51. So, not a huge jump, but it's still predominantly women. The age part, I was going to talk to, and from those 2 years, to 2015 to 2017, I was speaking to high schools, colleges, and universities. In 2017, I made a shift. Um, I didn't feel like I was living in my purpose, even though my name was still Kristen Powers, right? I felt like dressing was subjective. You didn't necessarily have to have a suit on to make $1 million, and every line of work didn't require you to dress up. So if I was at a cubicle, I probably can have a polo on, slacks, or if I was a car salesman, polo and slacks if I wanted to, you know. And so, if I was a referee or if I was janitorial service, there were certain things that I necessarily didn't have to wear this, and it was a good stepping stone to get me into my career. But I think God, no, but God sat me down one day and I was asking Him for years, and those 2 years, because I didn't feel like I was living in my purpose. But that was grooming me on the public speaking side, to be in front of people, to sit in front of those crowds, to sit in front of 5 people. My very first speaking engagements, I was in a classroom with 5 people, and these students was they was in they schools in the hood, right? And then so they weren't trying to hear what I had to say, and then I spoke with places that's 500 plus. But in the midst of that, that taught me how to do the the homework of public speaking. In 2017, God was like, "Listen, Chris, I want you to." He actually spoke to one of my um, who was the best man at my wedding and one of my close friends, but he was once my boss at Advanced Auto, and, and I don't really like new friends. I don't really, I'm cool with my circle of friends that I have, and so me really not knowing him like that, he actually uh, he was transitioning out of that work field, and he wanted to a place to stay because his lease was up. And so, me being a product of my mom, who will probably take somebody off the street and be like, "Hey, you can stay with me."
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, yeah,
Yeah.
I said, yeah, yeah, I said, "You can stay with me." And literally, when he heard me praying and talking about it, all of a sudden he was sitting on my kitchen counter, like sitting on it. And he said, "Chris, what is your purpose?" And when he asked me that, and I began to explain to him, it took me a while, but when I get to explaining, he was like, why don't you talk about purpose?" And then literally that night, God, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I started traveling across the country on how to identify your purpose, um, how to go after your passion, um, unwrap your gift, but more importantly, birth your
All
greatness.
right now.
And so that's what was, when I got that formula, it took me places that I'd never been before. And I haven't talked about how to properly dress professionally since 2017. And I have spoke to my university has changed. I started going from my small beginnings to bigger schools. I
Mm-hmm.
went to I went from a Northern Illinois University, which is it was still it's good speaking. But that was the cheat code because that was my school. But going from there to Eastern to Southern, then from Western, then going from there to U of I, and then going to Louisiana, and going to Detroit, and going to New York, and going to these different places to do public speaking, sitting on the stage with Ricky Smiley, and then the list goes on where I was able to um, live in my purpose, living in my calling. And it wasn't really my purpose. I really believe that, this was my assignment because, again, I wanted, when your first previous in our conversation, I said, I want to be a psychologist. I wanted somebody to sit on my couch and me help you out. That was what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do public speaking. I didn't want to help nobody on no stage. So I believe this was my assignment. I didn't choose this. This chose me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
the rest of this one.
Yeah. Now that's a great segue when you were talking about helping people dress for success. Now, I understand you also have a clothing line. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So, and I hope this business tip for all who's watching to uh, really put this in the toolbox, because I believe as a public speaker, like, my job is just to provide you the tools. I don't know what you're building, and I don't know what you're trying to carve out, but my job is to literally just be a toolbox, provide you a bunch of tools in there that you be able to use for projects. No matter what project it is, that you be able to use. And one of those in business, I would say, you always want to pick something. So whatever you decide to do in life, that's the top of your pyramid, right? For me, it's public speaking. Now, the other business that I do. So let me slow down. Let me rewind. So in business, you can pick something that you're passionate about and make money, or you can pick something that makes money that you're not passionate about. For example, both of me and Dr. Ron, I'm sorry, Dr. Ron and I can go into real estate. Our passion and maybe not be in real estate at all. However, though, we can learn the real estate game and make money from real estate. You don't have to be, oh my God, I have to love this industry to make money. I can right now go sell bottles of water and make a couple of dollars. It's just
Mm-hmm.
business. And then the other sector is, let me have a passion for this and go after it. With those two, is no right or wrong to that method. However, I found something that I believe that would take the business people's business perspective and takes it to a different level. I should say it like that. So on the top of my pyramid is public speaking. So I was like, okay, I'm going to continue to build this pyramid, but I need a foundation, for the pyramid, and that's the top, because the top generates, not only is my assignment, but it generates me the most money. However, now when I'm on stage, my uniform is a suit. So in the public speaking space, since I'm on the suit, and I have the audience, because you need the viewership in order, you need the consumer, and so um, to test my product, I'm going to wear my product on that stage. Now, it's going to be consumers always said, if you talk to 1,000 people, you're only going to reach 100. If you talk to 100, you're only going to reach 10, and if you reach 10, you're only going to reach one, right? And in those odds, it's not bad, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when I'm on stage every single time, it don't matter if it's 200, 300, 400, and the list goes on. When I'm wearing a suit, the likelihood of saying, "Hey, Chris, you look nice," will come up. To say worst case scenario, 50% of the time. In those 50% of the time, I can say, "Hey, Dr. Ron, I have my own suit line." Now, in that 50%, half of that people will say, "Oh man, you do? I'm interested. Where can I get it from?" So I already this is what I do. So it's part of my pyramid. It's not something outside of it. It's not like I'm selling Laffy Taffies or something like that. This is what I am in lane. And by the way, I am passionate about this. And so I went on speak, and how that got developed while I was on stage. A gentleman, I was at a conference, matter of fact, and a gentleman spoke af- after me, I believe, or before me, one of the two. And he bought his own warehouse and manufacturing, based in the States. And he said, "You know what, Chris? I want you to be a partner of mine, and I want you to have your own suit line.
Mm.
We're going to do strategy." And I said, I denied it at first because of my ignorance. I said, "No, I'm a public speaker. What I'm doing with suits, you know." I don't want. I remember I said I'm done with public speaking with suits. I was like, that's behind me. I don't want anything to do with suits. I was like, I'm gonna wear suits. I'm gonna look nice for myself. I don't care if you look nice. I don't care. That ain't my business. That ain't my
Uh,
problem. You know. And then, uh, and it's incredible because the time he saw me, I was early in the new Kristen Powers. And so he circled back around when I became who I am today. a couple years ago, he came and said, you know what, Chris? So this was before the pandemic. So the year before the pandemic, 2020. He met me in 2017. He came back around in 2019 and asked me, and I said, I'm good. You know, I had one of my friends do it or something like that. The next following year, 2020, and pandemic year, he ended up, uh, I'm sorry, in the end of 2019, that was the beginning of 2019. In the end of 2019, he reached out again, and I was like, and I had a conference coming up. I had this book that I wanted to drop. It was like, you know what? Maybe I can do this, you know, and to be and very honest with your audience, I was really wanting it for myself.
Right.
I said, you know, I can
Right.
and this make custom suits for
Right.
myself. I was like, I ain't gonna sell a suit. I was like, I don't even want to sell a suit. I'm gonna do this for myself. But then the large amount of people who kept on stage was that 50% was more than 50%. I was like, hold on. I'm denying a lot of dollars at this point. I was like, this ain't even making sense. This ain't making sense. So I end up getting into the suit line, and my suit line is called Tied for Greatness, TIED for Greatness.
Right.
And so I end up getting into the suit line, and we're able to do custom suits, custom peak coats, custom ties, shoes, shirts, and so the business is about whomever is going to get in the custom business space, no matter what is custom, no matter if it's a custom candle, no matter if it's a custom suit, no matter if it's custom shoes. It is more about quantity than it is. It's always about quality, but it's more so about quantity
Right.
because when you define something that's custom, automatically think it's high quality, and so because it's more handcrafted. And so, even if it's a service or a product, the mindset is that because it's custom, it's more on the higher end, exclusive to you.
Right.
So still is not quality like the other big brands is that they push in quality. In the custom space, it's more about how many people that you can get or the quality of people or person. So it's not necessarily the quality of product because the assumption it is already, you know, top notch. And so in my space, because again, I always wanted to help people, I brought high quality to the average person. So yes, I have had high end clients, that wanted things, but 90% of my client base is people that don't even make six figures, but still have a custom suit that's like, hey, now I feel like six figure plus
Right.
and look like six figure
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah. Now let me comment on that a little bit. You know, I don't know if anybody understands how you feel when you put on a custom made suit. A custom made suit is made to your specifications, to your body type, and it drapes on you and fits on you. Man, it just makes you feel so much better than an on the rack type situation. And I'm not putting on the rack down, but when you have the right material, when you have the right, for some reason we lost him. I think something has happened, and he's gonna pop in again here in a minute here. But when you are, hold on, you all. Let me see. Can I get him back on the line? Hold on. Here we go. Let's see here. We lost his connection, so y'all stand by 1 second. We're gonna reconnect with him in 1 second here. We're gonna have him back on the air with us in just a second here. I don't know what happened. Yep. We're trying to get Chris back on the line with us here. Just give me 1 minute to reconnect with him. It sounds as though his connection dropped out for some reason. Not exactly sure what happened there, but we'll connect back with him in 1 second here. Y'all stand by. For some reason, we have lost connection. We're going to get this young man back on the line with us in 1 second here. Yep, we have lost him. We're going to catch him back on the line here in 1 minute. All right, something happened with his connection. Not sure what it is. But talking about custom clothes. Custom clothes are so, I'm telling you, they make you feel so much better. I mean, when you are well dressed, when you are so laid out, man, you just feel wonderful. Your clothes are made, the material is I mean, people that wear custom clothes, they know how material looks when they see it. Over the counter stuff, like I said, it's nothing wrong with over the counter stuff. But if you can spend a few more dollars and wind up in a custom clothing arena, oh my goodness, I'm telling you, there's nothing more, positive. You're going to feel positive. You're going to feel great wearing something that is in a custom clothing line, like custom shirts, custom leisure wear. All of those things put you in a space that I tell you is just makes you feel so great when you're doing it, you know. So we're gonna try and see, can we connect back with Chris again. I see he is he has some technical difficulties on his end, so we're gonna get him back on the line as quick as possible here. We're trying to connect back with him. Not sure. There we go. Let's see what's going on here. Not exactly sure what's going on. We've lost connection. I don't know if that's where he's at. Yep, not sure at all if that's the location where he's we're gonna hold on just a second, see can we connect back up with him. Trying to get some more information from him about his upcoming event that he has. Not sure what's going on here. Let me try and call him on his line to see if he can answer that way. Not exactly sure what's going on. Yep, you all bear with us just a second here. We're gonna see can we try and connect back up with him. Yep, we've lost contact with him. Not exactly sure what happened, but we're going to find out in a minute if we can connect back up with him. I think we have lost connection with him. I'm not sure, maybe his phone died or his connection that he was using. Not exactly sure what happened, but we're trying to connect back up with him right now as we are speaking and see can we finish this interview for today. Y'all hang in there with me for just a minute. We'll see can we get him back on the line. He's got an event coming up, and hopefully he can tell us about his upcoming event. He's written a book. Yep. Okay. So we've lost connection. He's in a bad area, not able to connect up with him. So we're going to just finish out the show for today. If you want more information on how Chris can empower you or someone you know, this is his website, birthyourgreatness.com, and you need to go there and